So my name is Paul Bartley. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Odfjell Drilling Philippines, and we are a shared service center in Manila, and we serve the Odfjell Drilling Group. I just feel like everybody is really excited about the future in Asia, and I know we're going to talk about locations in a minute. So I've worked all over the world in Latin America, Europe, US, and in Asia, and I just feel like there's a lot of excitement here, and it's nice to see such a diversity of cultures. Everybody talks about Asia as one thing, but it's actually many, many different countries and regions together, even within countries. One of the speakers was talking about how many languages even within India there are. So even one country you can't say too much about and it not be 100% correct. So yeah, it's been great. I think there's a number of things that made Asia competitive in this arena. One of them is the availability of talent. That's really important. I worked in a previous company that had a center in Europe, and I know that's kind of a hot area right now, but what we discovered is that as an early entrant, we had the advantage of hiring a lot of good people, but after a while, so many more players came in, they start hiring them away, you have to start paying more money. So I think one of the big advantages of Asia is that they have such a deep pool of talent here, and that pipeline is continuing, whereas some of these smaller locations actually get tapped out. So it's not true for every country in Asia, but I think generally in the region, there's a wide variety and very deep pool of talent. Yeah, and I think you have to keep that pipeline going. So it's not that each company has to do this, but supporting schools, working with academic institutions, making sure that the skills that companies are looking for are offered in the schools and that the graduates have those skills. It's really important if you want to maintain that competitive edge. I actually think that Asia is quite advanced in terms of technology and the skills that people have here. In another previous experience, we set up an RPA operation, and the team was in KL for the whole globe. So we could have been in Poland, we could have been in Latin America, we could have been in the US, but we were here, and that's because we were able to find the talent. And RPA is a technology, but it's also understanding processes. So it's not just IT technologists that you need people who actually understand the business and can document and understand the outcomes. And I think that talent is also here. Yeah, I think it goes back to what I said about the higher education. They aren't teaching that. Some of the countries have, and I have a lot of experience with Malaysia. They've got a whole effort underway to attract businesses that are in this space and help them get the talents that they need. I think some of the other countries could look at that as a model. I know I'm in the Philippines and they have a lot of economic incentives. I'm not so sure what they're doing on the development of skills, but there's always different aspects that you can look at, and that's probably one that I would recommend. So I think one of the things that I've noticed after working here for a year is that there seems to be quite an appetite for working hours of other countries. For instance, US hours. Here in Asia, it's not a crazy thing to ask somebody to work at night. It's not unusual. It's actually part of the fabric. This is something that shops are set up for, people are setting up their lives to do. Not all countries are like that. I think Europe, maybe not so much. If you want to work US hours, might have a little more difficulty finding people willing to do that. Oddly enough, it's 12-hour difference here instead of 6 or 7. But I think that's one. I think the language is another big advantage. If you want to find Chinese speaker or Japanese or Korean, probably going to have a better luck here in Asia than in Europe or other parts of the world. So those are probably two of the ones that I would highlight. I think that technology is also ahead here, so yeah, depending on the country, of course. So the disadvantages, every area has pluses and minuses. I think that, and this is not true for all parts of Asia, but I know in some cultures within Asia, I sense this attitude of being very conscientious about performing a task and not so much about owning it or asking questions about it. I work for a Norwegian company, and Norwegians are very upfront. They're very unafraid to tell you how they feel. And I feel like in Asia there are places where that's not the case. People tend to be very reserved. Even if they don't understand or agree with what they're being asked to do, they'll still do it. And sometimes we need a little bit of that pushback, a little bit of process improvement, or standing up and saying yes but, or yes why. And I think that it's a cultural thing, and it's something that you can teach. So I don't know how you would apply that at a country level, but perhaps with the staff that you have of your own, you can definitely develop that.